Hi everyone. So I did this presentation at the Simply Expo last week, and I wanted to share it with you, people who were unable to attend or would like to, listen to it again. Okay. So will AI take your job? No. The person who can automate 50 to 70% of your job will take your job. Now, I spent the last 6 years at Shell in different tech areas, and the last three in Intelligent Automation Center of Excellence, where my job was to help increase awareness, adoption, and demand from businesses. And as a change transformation expert, I always coach people to improve their soft skills and to think of the importance of communication. And during one of these sessions, one of my colleagues, a rising star software developer, said to me, "Hey, Dana, it's really great that you always encourage us to develop our soft skills, but I wish people like you would also develop some tech acumen." So, as my contract finished, I took that to heart. And instead of getting another job, I thought, you know what, I am going to actually explore what that means. And I started this narrative automation newsletter to kind of chart my journey and share my lessons and my frustrations as well as successes with other people, thinking, yeah, maybe they find it valuable. So how I feel about AI? Well, I am worried. I'm sure like everybody else, and I do feel overwhelmed at times. But I'm also excited, very excited about the opportunities, and that makes me very determined to learn. And I wanted to share my story here with you today. Now, having spent 3 years in automation, I guess I am not as naive as I used to be about the speed of development and how these things progress. So I am a bit more cautious, and I understand a bit more. So I know there are some warning signs, and I wanted to share these videos. I'll put the links in the post. The ones on the left is there are some Harvard students who connected the Meta glasses with a custom AI build, and as they walk through the street, they are able to get information about the person they are looking at, their name, where they work, right, detailed information. And that's kind of scary. And as somebody else has tried to scam me, this is a scammer's paradise. So it really throws some important questions about ethical use of AI, and I think communicators can help in this space. And the other one is the godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton, in an interview with BBC, and he talks about two things. One, that AI will exceed human intelligence, and the second, that within the next 5 to 20 years, there is a 50% probability that AI will try to take over. And the way he explains exceeding human intelligence is a story I'd like to share. So you have one human, one brain, and you can tell that human, please go and get a degree. You have a neural network, you can copy that neural network 10,000 times, and you can give those neural networks a task, go and get a degree. So now you have 10,000 degrees. And the difference between AI and a human is that AI is able to share that information amongst themselves. So they can gain 10,000 degrees within one brain. And that is really, really powerful. And that kind of gave me pause to think, wow, if that is possible, then of course it will eventually exceed human intelligence. And, I can see why it might try to take over. Now, the reason I feel overwhelmed is there are, every other day there's a new AI tool, and I last read that there are 7,000 different AI tools and systems. And it is overwhelming because it takes time. It takes time to look into them, to research, to use them, to figure out, the basic versus the premium subscription. You often find that when you try to use it, it doesn't actually give you what you want. So yeah, I think there's a lot out there, and I can understand why people feel overwhelmed. Now, this is how we used to explain what intelligent automation is in Shell, but in very, very simple term, you have maybe a bit stupid robots, um, robots that follow a predefined set of rules, and then you have AI robots, and these robots don't follow the rules, or even if they follow the rules, they can make their own decisions, they can change the rules, they can create maybe better rules. So that's why I think a lot of people are excited about how, the robotic process automation world can be enhanced and made better with AI. But, don't panic, it's not going to happen overnight. So Shell has about 70,000 employees. Right now, or when I left, they had a digital workforce of 275 bots and 11 chatbots. And as far as I know, they are trying to build their own large language model. These endeavors are really, really expensive. They take time. And so, yeah, I think that gives us a bit of time as functional people, non techies, to get to grips with what AI and automation has to offer. And the reason I created this infographic on the right hand side is because I wanted to explain that AI, yes, it's an important part of automation, but it's still a small part. So, the bread and butter is kind of the robotic process automation, the the bots that do 24/7 repetitive tasks that we need them to do in the real world. And then you have the eyes, which is optical character recognition technology, and the mouth, which are the chatbots, and AI, Gen AI, which is kind of makes them more human. So it's kind of the soul of all this, or process mining, which is a bit like an MRI. It will scan the process and it will identify bottlenecks and recommend improvements. And then hyper automation, which is kind of a bit like an orchestra. So, like an end to end automation. We'll look up all of these technologies and figure out which one is needed that is fit for purpose. So ultimately, AI, which is the brain, the machine learning, it's just the brain. Unless you give it a task, it's still just the brain. And once you give it a task, depending on that task, well, it might need hands, it might need eyes, it might need a mouth in order to deliver that task. So just bear that in mind. And I would really recommend that you learn about automation as well as AI. And this is an example of how intelligent automation and AI work together, and it's from a customer service center. So on the left hand side, you see the maybe stupid bot, which looks at an email and the keywords and categorize it and sends it to the relevant human to deal with it. When you tag AI to this process, well, using natural language processing, AI can interpret the customer intent from the email content, and it will generate and send an immediate response to resolve the customer issue automatically. So in the past, it wasn't possible because RPA needed structured data. But now AI makes it possible because it understands unstructured data, messy data a bit better. So why am I saying that I'm determined to learn, but it will take some time to figure out AI? And there's some research that shows that CIOs struggle. They've been, I guess, tasked by their CEOs, hey, you need to develop an AI strategy. But obviously, they understand that that requires analytics and data capabilities and protection from cyber threats. So this is not an easy task. They also need to understand that AI is just a tool, right? So it needs to be grounded in reality, and we need to find business use cases for it. And there is the complexity of, okay, in order to make AI successful, what kind of talent do I need? What kind of skill set do I need? And how do I design a talent strategy for this particular task? I took a course by Andrew Ng, who helped transform Google into an AI company. And he talked about the AI strategy's role being almost impossible to fill. He talked about this is the skill that is needed the most. And an AI strategy would look at a business problem and be able to pick the AI tool, technology, methodology that can help solve that problem within budget and time constraints. And that is the crucial part, within budget and time constraints. And he talked about the fact that, this role, it's very, very hard to resource. And it kind of made me think about, okay, well, what does this mean for communicators? Because a lot of communicators believe that AI will significantly impact our work. So I think our role is about building more human AI and being that link between technology and the human stakeholders. And I know there are some examples there where, chatbots being developed by IT, and I have been involved, or I have been at the end, seeing IT applications being built by IT with no functional kind of skill set involved in the team. And it was less than desired. So there are some examples, and I think we can bring a lot of value to a tech team developing AI solutions. And I'm just really excited about. I'm really fascinated about process mining, and this is one of the technologies that I'm familiar with because we used it at Shell. Salonis typically analyze log files in SAP or Workday and identifies bottlenecks and efficiencies. And now the exciting thing is that you can use AI to automatically map and analyze business processes and identify inefficiencies, and offer real-time insights. So imagine, as a communicator, being able to mine all the emails, PowerPoints, reports you've created or received, as well as the task you do on the computer, and then receive a visual report that tells you what you spend most time on and recommendations on how to automate it. I mean, I don't know. I just think process mining is incredible. And there's another process mining vendor called UiPath that has done some work in the area of communication mining, especially in customer support or interaction, and uses AI to understand the data, like pain points in real time, and drive improvements. And I think if we could apply this kind of process mining in the communication process, and in a large organization where there are hundreds of, let's say, communicators, change managers, employee engagement staff, and understand where improvements will have the biggest impact, I think that could really show a return on investment. Now, I had a bit of time to think about what would an AI augmented comms role look like, and how what would be the impact of such a role. So basically, AI will help communication free our time from the mundane, boring task, so we can think more strategically, deliver more personalized touch points, finally leverage predictive analysis. I think that's going to be incredible, and deliver faster and higher dollar value. And I'm really excited about the predictive analysis type of things. And let ChatGPT or let AI kind of create content, and let us think of it strategically, and be the ones who refine it and personalize it, in order to be successful. This is kind of a new communication workflow, showing how AI and human can partner together. So the strategic part is still with the human, setting the business objective, linking it to the overall strategy of the company. But then generating the initial draft is with AI. The content creation is kind of AI augmented. So we are the ones who just refine it, approve it. Then we let AI optimize it for the different channels that we have. We let AI distribute it, perform real time performance tracking. And then we get together again, human and AI, And while AI provides the data driven insights, we're the ones who interpret it, make strategic decisions, and then we contribute to that continuous improvement loop. And I think that's how the communication workflow will evolve in time. Now, I have been looking at job descriptions, and I feel that LinkedIn hasn't yet caught up with this AI enabled senior comms manager role. But these are the things that I kind of try to think about. What would the day in the life of a senior communication manager maybe would be in 2034, or not even that far advanced? It would be more about reviewing real time insights, patterns, identifying patterns and trends, overseeing development and maintenance of AI models, focusing on high level strategy and creative direction, conducting simulation using predictive AI models, developing AI powered stakeholder mapping and relationship predicting, rather than doing the kind of sometimes manual efforts that we did today. And as I was thinking about this and doing some research, I looked at LinkedIn job descriptions, and very few have caught up with AI. But I do think that they will hopefully come through, and we will see more and more this kind of AI human or AI communication advisor roles. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, if there isn't one, then I'll probably create one for myself. Now, the key question is okay, so we're going to have AI, it's going to augment us, it's going to make us better. What do we do with the time saved? Because clearly, we're not going to work 4 days instead of five and get paid for five. So I think these time gains will help us be more strategic, plan better, spend more time in relationship building, help our colleagues, maybe our tech colleagues, with their professional development, work with our leaders to improve decision making, have this ethical oversight, and be part of innovation. And what I have been doing since I've studied at Shell, and my job has kind of changed quite drastically within these 6 years that I've been there. I've been involved in less doing and more thinking about how we can add better value and really be strategic about the type of activities that we do, and being a trusted partner to my leaders, in the sense that if somebody is approaching me with an idea or saying, hey, I want to do this initiative, the first question is, should we do that initiative in the first place? Is there a link to the strategic goals or KPIs? Can we demonstrate return on investment? And I think taking the time to think about these things and be strategic, it will definitely improve the trust that people place in us. And spending the time to analyze the outcomes and proving a direct link between our activities and the bottom line, it is definitely one of the ways that we can add better value as communicators and change managers. So I wanted to look at, what are the skills that we need to stay ahead of 97% of people, and these are some of those skills. And I have been doing a bit of prompt engineering. I'm doing some courses. It's definitely got better. I use Claude, and I use Perplexity, and I use ChatGPT, of course. And I am also applying some of these lessons as I'm building my personal brand on LinkedIn. I've always been really interested in data storytelling and visualization, but now I want to understand more the tech side of it, how it's being built. And one of the things I'm doing is I am doing a data science course from IBM. It's a professional certification, because I understood that you cannot have AI without data, and rubbish in means rubbish out. So I want to storytelling is what we're good at as communicators, right? We translate complex concepts into easy to understand language. But it's also important to understand how how to consume data, how to mine data, how to look at data and pick from the plethora of data that we have the one that will tell the story in the best way. And so that's why I'm, really kind of honing on this particular skill. And so I wanted to give you some practical ways to embrace AI and automation. Um, Perhaps some of the things that I've done myself. And one of the most important one, I think, is about rethinking our value add as communicators and transformation specialists, and listening and adapting to business challenges and priorities. So, some of my leaders were saying, look, our budgets are being cut. I have to find 25 to 40% reduction. And when they have to deliver platforms or tools that will save the company millions, of course it's easy to think that, what, I'll just use ChatGPT to deliver my communication, and maybe that's good enough. I don't need a specialist to tell me, how to write it or to write it for me. I think it's important that as communicators we, don't bury our head in the sand and face the reality. And if that is the reality, then we need to adapt, we need to pivot, we need to figure out, well, what does this mean for us? And that's why I'm talking about more thinking and strategy and less doing. Let the AI, let automation do the doing, the kind of repetitive tasks, and I have many ideas about stakeholder maps and business impact assessments. Those things can be done by AI and AI agents. And what we think about is, how do we alleviate the pain in the organization? What are the pain points that my team is facing, that my leader is facing, that the organization is facing? And how can I help solve those? And the second part is, how can I put my skill set to good use? I am not very precious about my job title. I don't really care if I have communication or change management or change lead in my title. What I care about is putting my skills to good use. And if that means being, I don't know, product owner or manager or chatbot conversation designer, as long as I know that my skill set is valuable to the team and is helping the team create better solutions and more human AI, then I'm happy with that. So like I said, I've spent some time to build some tech acumen and do some courses, but ultimately I think, and the courses are great and I've learned a lot, but I think it's through the doing, through the actual building or using these AI tools and building AI agents, that we really cement what is it that we've learned. And I think one piece of advice that I have taken from Andrew and that I'm trying to do myself is, don't try to learn about everything. Just pick one of those 9 skills and go deep into it and really become a subject matter expert, as long as alongside your communication and change management skills, in order to understand and add value. So the third one is the doing, and a bit like myself, I try to get involved in designing bots, and these are some examples of the ones that I have done. I've learned so much, and so going back to the initial conversation of the software developer who said to me, "Hey, you need to develop your tech acumen," and having a different kind of conversation. I'll give you an example of I think what he meant by it. When a comms person goes to a developer and they say, hey, I want to develop this particular solution and I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, and um, I think you should look like this. That's the wrong conversation to have. What we need to do is do our due diligence, understand what the technology can do and cannot do, and go into that conversation with the premise of, okay, with my understanding of what we can achieve within the time, within the budget, with this particular technology that we have in house, this is the problem that I'm trying to solve, and here are some initial ideas of how I would like to collaborate with you to solve this problem. I think tech people would much more appreciate the second kind of conversation than, oh, can you do this? And can you do that? And can you make it sing? And can you make it dance? Which sometimes I think, as communicators and, not understanding the tech space, we kind of sometimes tend to be, overly keen and demanding. So I guess the takeaway for my presentation is, let's prepare for the inevitable. And these are three ways in which you can do that. So first of all, ask yourself, how can I help alleviate pain for my AI-driven organization? And if somebody is approaching me with a project or initiative, I'm asking myself, does this alleviate pain, business pain? Does this contribute in any way to to the bottom line? And if it doesn't, then stand your ground and say, I don't think we should be doing this in the first place. Second one is learn, build your tech acumen, take courses. You can subscribe to my newsletter or any other AI newsletter. Watch YouTube, follow people on LinkedIn. Every day, try to be part of the conversation. And then the third one is find ways to contribute. Find the team, the automation or AI team in your organization, reach out to them, look at their website, figure out what they do, and offer to partner with them to build pilots for communication or for your particular function. And that's how you learn. And if we had time, this was the table discussion that I wanted to pose. But I guess it would be also good to look at these things like questions to answer in the future or things for you to take away. And these are the four that I thought about. So, considering the current skills that we have as change and communicators and the future needs, which we know are very much AI driven, what would be the top five skills that we as communication professionals need to develop in order to embrace AI? The second one would be thinking about AI that is going to make you more productive, is going to save your time. What will you do with this extra time in order to demonstrate to your manager and your leadership that you will continue to add value to the organization? This was one of the key things I've learned from Shell, and it was about a team in supply chain that had developed some bots and they freed some time, but they actually didn't capture what they did with that extra time, or they didn't visibly communicate that, in fact, it allowed them to take on new projects and deliver more work. That wasn't really visible to the senior leadership. So, of course, they came back and said, okay, well, you had, let's say, a 1 FT time saving. How did this translate? What did you do with that time? The third one was around once AI starts to handle routine tasks, well, what does that mean for the team structure? What does that mean for the communication or change function as a whole? What new roles do you envision that will emerge? And then the fourth one is, and that was this actually created a bit of a discussion in the group. When should you disclose the use of AI in your communication? And how do you ensure that AI enhanced work maintains your professional standards? And I'll give you one final little story. Um, one day I was on LinkedIn and this gentleman talked about the fact that he received a CV where the job seeker said that he's using Gen AI and he's achieved a 40% improvement in his productivity. And the gentleman was talking about the fact that he would never hire such a person. And it kind of made me again think about it. And I thought, I don't think I'll ever want to work for you. I would want to work for someone who would appreciate that. Somebody who would think, oh wow, 40% productivity, wow, that's great. How can I make this scalable? How can I apply it to more people? But it's interesting how people react to AI in different ways, and how some people would use Gen AI to improve their, let's say, communication or articles, whatever they're doing, but not actually be upfront about it because of some fear. And that goes to the culture of the organization, and and another aspect was, how do we all, I mean, I have used ChatGPT and sometimes it's just so much rubbish, and I would never use it because I try to maintain a high quality of writing, and it also has to be unique. It has to be me, otherwise, what's the point? And I know a lot of people use AI to write their CVs and letters and things like that. I do think that we need to be quite strict with AI, and if we want to maintain a professional standard, we need to be quite cautious and only use it to augment us rather than replace us. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Post some questions in the comments, and I will get back to you. Thanks so much. Take care.